Welcome tonight. Addressing the insecurity in the country takes the front burner as the National Assembly resumes from recess. At the Senate, lawmakers summoned service chiefs to appear before it next week over rising insecurity across the nation. At the lower chamber, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, advises President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take tough decisions in addressing the nation's security challenges. And President Bola Tinubu orders security agencies to rescue abducted pupils and teachers in Ekporo Ekiti, just as he condemns the gruesome killing of true traditional rulers in the state.
And on business news tonight, Central Bank clears all verified foreign airlines FX backlog with additional payments of $64 million.
On sports news tonight, Eagles of Mali becomes the 7th team to progress to the last 8 of the 2023 African Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire, following a 2-1 win against Burkina Faso.
From Abuja, Vice President Kashim Shettima inaugurates a 37-member tripartite committee on national minimum wage for workers in the country.
And in international news from London, Israeli forces have killed 3 militants inside a hospital in Jenin in a special operation in the occupied West Bank.
We begin in the National Assembly, where the security situation in Nigeria took center stage today as the lawmakers resumed from their recess. While at the Senate, the lawmakers have summoned service chiefs over the spate of insecurity in the country. This was a unanimous call by the lawmakers after an emergency session on the first legislative day of the year. The Senate had gone into the executive session after the leader, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, raised a motion on behalf of the senators on the security situation in the country. Our correspondent, Kumbi Aboluwade, reports.
Senators are resuming plenary for the first time this year, and the usual exchange of pleasantries precedes legislative activities. The day's proceedings starts with the reading of the President's communications to the Senate.
I hereby seek the kind confirmation of the Senate in respect of the disengagement from office of Babatunde Irukere as Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive Officer of the FCCPC. I am pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of Oluwole Adama as the Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund in the Petroleum Regulatory Authority.
After which, the Senate then proceeds into an executive session. After about 2 hours behind closed doors, the Senate then reconvenes and resolves to invite the service chiefs next week over the spate of insecurity in the country.
The Senate notes with sadness the rising spate of killings, kidnappings, banditry, and other criminal activities in the nation. Senate equally notes the various kidnappings within the Federal Capital Territory where victims have been killed after collecting ransom. Senate is also aware of several cases of kidnappings all over the country.
Those who are in support of this motion are second, they say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
At the close of plenary, Senator Adamu Alaro gives more insight on the Senate's decision.
We are very disturbed. Without security, nothing can happen. And that's why each and every senator will speak about what's happening in his constituency when the service chiefs come. And we will demand for immediate solution.
Meanwhile, The Senate adjourned plenary to February 6 to allow lawmakers to participate in Saturday's by-election. With the resolution by the Senate to invite the service chiefs, we hope that they would come up with better solutions to address the insecurity plaguing the nation. From the National Assembly, Kumbi Aboluade, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Abbas Tajuddin, is asking President Bola Ahmed Tinubu not to shy away from taking tough decisions, including making changes within the nation's security apparatus. The Speaker made his view known in his welcome address to members of the House at the resumption of plenary for the year 2024. The Speaker is also proposing a National Legislative Security Summit to proffer solutions to the security situation in the country. Our correspondent Terry Ikumi reports.
It's the first plenary of the year as the House of Representatives reconvenes 1 month after its last sitting. The Speaker begins with an address specifically on the state of the nation.
On the economic front, our country continues to grapple with numerous hurdles that impede our growth trajectory. The continuous depreciation of the Naira has far-reaching consequences, given that Nigeria relies heavily on imports for many essential items, including fuel and machinery.
The security situation is a major concern for him as he asks the president to go tougher.
Indeed, the time has come for the president to demand greater performance and accountability from our service chiefs and all security and enforcement agencies. I implore the president not to shy away from making the tough decisions. If necessary, we must not hesitate to enact changes within our security apparatus for the cause of inaction if inaction is far too great to bear. In light of these challenges, I propose convening a National Legislative Security Summit. This summit will serve as a crucible for ideas where stakeholders from diverse sectors will forge enduring solutions to our security woes.
For matters of urgent national importance that follow further buttress the need for urgent action against insecurity, as the spokesperson of the House has moved to tears over the murder of 2 traditional rulers in Ekiti State on the 29th of January.
The House recognizes that the entire people of Imojo, in Oye local government and Esun, in Ikole local government, and the entire state have been thrown into mourning on account of the loss of our highly revered traditional rulers who were forces for community development, peace and stability in the constituency and the entire state. Take it easy.
The House then adjourns abruptly for a week to allow members campaign and participate in the by-elections scheduled for Saturday, the 3rd of February across the country. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
And staying with security matters, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered security agencies to ensure the rescue of pupils and teachers kidnapped around Ekporo Ekiti area in Ekiti State. The president, in a statement by his spokesman, also condemned the killing of the 2 traditional rulers, the Onumojo of Imojo Ekiti, Oba Olatunde Olushola, and the election of Eshu Ekiti, Oba David Ogunshola, in the state. The statement goes on to say the president pledged that the perpetrators of the mindless and brutal bloodletting will not escape justice. The president, while condoling with the families and subjects of the traditional rulers, Governor Biodun Oyebanji, and the people of Ekiti State on this, assured Nigerians that the nation's security architecture is being robustly fortified for better and expected outcomes. Meanwhile, the governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Biodun Oyebanji, and some members of his cabinet have visited the 2 local government areas where the 2 traditional rulers were killed. During the visit, the governor commiserated with the families and the people of the communities, assuring them that the state government will mobilize every resource at its disposal to ensure the perpetrators are brought to book.
It's an unfortunate incident. It's very sad. It's painful, unexpected, because Ekiti State has been extremely peaceful. This is an affront us as a people. And it's sacrilege against the traditional institution. But I'm grateful and thankful to Mr. President, who was on the phone with me for close to 1 hour yesterday to commiserate with the Ekiti people and to also give the appropriate directive to the security agencies to fish out the perpetrator of this dastardly act. I have absolute confidence in the ability of security agencies to fish out these people. On our part as a government, we continue to step up our efforts at securing our people, because that is why we are here. So my message to all these criminals is that Ekiti State is going to be too hot for them. We are going to go after them. And for those that are involved in this act, this sacrilege, we bring them to justice. But I'm so confident that we are going to pick them up. And with the kind of cooperation we have received from the communities and intelligence we are gathering, very soon they'll be in the net and they will face justice.
And staying with security matters, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, is calling on government at all levels and Nigerians to collectively address issues of insecurity in the country. Mr. Obi made the call shortly after visiting the siblings of the late Nabiha Al-Kadriya, who was killed by her abductors in the Buhari Area Council of Abuja. According to him, the issue of banditry and kidnapping in Nigeria is becoming worrisome. The late Nabiha Al-Kadriya and her 5 sisters were kidnapped alongside their father at their home on the 2nd of January 2024, but later killed following the failure of their father to raise 60 million naira ransom after his release.
It's for all of us to sacrifice everything possible to see that this criminality is contained. It's now beginning to affect everybody. Can you imagine what it is for a father to lose her young daughter? Not just her, imagine Folashade's family as well. 13 years old. So just imagine the trauma. Imagine what they're going through. So for me, we should do everything possible to ensure that this is contained and stopped. The security agencies and all of us are the same. We just have to, government and the people must work hard to stop this. That's where I am. It's a very sad situation. I don't even know how to start commenting, because this is happening every day. I opened newspapers in this morning. Is that traditional rulers are kidnapped and killed in Ekiti. This one is happening in Anambra. This one is happening all over the place. We can't continue this way.
In part 2, after the break, Nigeria moves 5 places up in the Corruption Perception Index as released by Transparency International. Please stay with us. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Addressing the insecurity in the country takes the front burner as the National Assembly resumes from recess. At the Senate, lawmakers summon service chiefs to appear before it next week over rising insecurity across the nation. At the lower chamber, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, advises President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take top decisions in addressing the nation's security challenges. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu orders security agencies to rescue abducted pupils and teachers in Ekiti State, just as he condemns the gruesome killing of 2 traditional rulers in the state. And Israeli forces kill 3 members of Palestinian armed groups in a hospital in the occupied West Bank. Nigeria has recorded an improved ranking in the Corruption Perception Index (CPI) released by Transparency International, moving 5 places up to rank 145 out of 180 countries assessed. The CPI measures how corrupt each country's public sector is perceived to be. Our correspondent Emanuela Ekele reports.
Released by Transparency International.
It's that time of the year when civil society organizations under the Transparency International gather to provide details under the annual Corruption Perception Index ranking.
As we all know,
for 2023, Nigeria moves 5 steps higher compared to the 2022 rating.
The index revealed that Nigeria scored 25 out of 100 points in 2023 Corruption Perception Index, compared to 24 points in the year 2022. Corruption Perception Index, while Nigeria ranks 145 out of 180 countries, compared to 150 on the 2022 Corruption Perception Index results.
Some of the 7 highlights of the 2023 report that requires improvement includes electoral corruption, appointment of questionable individuals into government, wasteful expenditures.
It's no longer news again that what we know as a cliche is go to court. We don't know if our votes will count or will count in the future, or the courts will decide our ballots. But this calls for concern on the review of the Electoral Act. The poor performance of the election fails to justify the huge resources allocated to INEC for the conduct of the elections. Again, it's no longer news if INEC conducts free, fair, and credible elections, or we just say we conduct elections. These times, we don't know if elections are free, we don't know if it is fair, or if it is credible.
However, the report points at certain positives, highlighting areas of improvement in the last 1 year. The Perception Index also gives some recommendations.
The anti-corruption agencies also need to provide information on data on their arrests, investigations, and prosecutions, especially of politically exposed persons and high-profile individuals, as well as give information on the proceeds of crime they recover in line with the Proceeds of Crime Management Act 2022.
This is the first CPI under the administration of President Bola Tinubu, and the global body may just be using this benchmark to fight against corruption under his leadership. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
For more on the news at 10, we head over to Abuja studios where Maokwe Ogun Yusuf is standing by. It's late in the day, Maokwe, but you're looking so sunny in that yellow.
I don't think you got the memo for the yellow, did you, Anne? It was good to see you. Welcome to our Abuja studios. The federal government has inaugurated a 37-member tripartite committee on national minimum wage with a mandate to fashion out a new minimum wage for workers in the country. Vice President Kashim Shettima inaugurated the committee at the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa in Abuja. He says action has since commenced on the implementation of some of the agreements reached with the organized labor following the removal of fuel subsidy. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
Vice President Kashim Shettima is in the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa to inaugurate the Tripartite Committee on National Minimum Wage approved by President Bola Tinubu. It's been 5 years since Nigeria reviewed its national minimum wage from 18,000 naira to 30,000 naira in April 2019, and union leaders have been clamoring for another review as cost of living hits the roof following the removal of fuel subsidy, the unification of exchange rates, among other policies by the current government. This tripartite committee, comprising 37 members drawn from the organized labor, the private sector, the federal government and the state governments, is to recommend a new minimum wage for workers in the country.
We gather here today.
The vice president wants the committee to be prompt in discharging its responsibility.
Since the removal of the petroleum subsidy, various committees have been established to examine and make recommendations to the government on measures to cushion the envisaged painful effects of the increase on workers and the Nigerian populace at large. I am pleased to share that action has since commenced on the implementation of the outcome of those agreements and initiatives. The President hereby directs that ministers and heads of service of the Federation should personally attend the meetings. In their unavoidable absence, their permanent secretaries should represent them. Similarly, our executive governors are expected to attend in person or be represented by their deputy governors where necessary.
In response, the chairman of the committee assures of a thorough job.
We shall, by the grace of God, Your Excellency, make some extensive consultations with broad spectrum of stakeholders.
While this may be a cheery news for Nigerian workers, the concern will be the implementation of the new minimum wage that will be recommended by the committee, especially at the state level, where implementation of the present minimum wage has hit the rock in some states. However, there appears to be some words of assurance from stakeholders.
The federal government, in its own wisdom, have brought the subnationals into perspective, and this discussion will be done together with the subnationals. So I'm not sure we're going to foresee any challenge.
We've had a lot of minimum wage negotiations over the years, but this one will stand out. It will stand out because we have never seen a time like this in Nigeria.
The Vice President has said that the recommendations of this committee will be put together and submitted to the National Assembly as an executive bill. From the Presidential Villa, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
Now, the ultimate goal of the tripartite committee is to resolve the long-standing disputes between the Nigeria Labour Congress and the federal government. But the NLC seems to be sitting on the fence as they're threatening another national strike because, according to the president of the union, Mr. Joe Ajero, the federal government cannot be trusted to implement the outcome on the new minimum wage. The NLC president was speaking on our political program, Politics Today.
Why do you trust the government, whose duty it is to pay? And you're talking of an agreement reached by two parties, and one party, seems to be standing by the agreement, and the other party is failing. And now your trust deficit is on level. I want you to balance it. If two people went into agreement and one party has refused to, comply, must he take a fight? Must he take a beating to beat them into line, for them to equally comply?
I'm saying that the Nigerian workers and the Nigerian people are bearing the brunt. They are the grass that are suffering.
Because of the inability of government to live up to expectation on this.
Are you going to continue to watch them not doing it?
Supposed to do what?
To make them to enforce that, to execute it, since it agreed with you.
With gone, we will follow a process, and that process will evolve to something. And it's not, for you or anybody to tell us to do it tomorrow. We are following the process, and every Nigerian will understand that we have followed through a long process, and that this Nigerian state has refused to comply. And when we come, we are coming.
Away from labor matters now, the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Yahaya Bello, says his administration has laid down a formidable foundation for economic and infrastructural advancement in the state. The former governor was speaking when he paid a visit to the Ohinoyi of Igbira land, His Royal Majesty Ahmed Tijani Anaje, at his palace in Okene. Mr. Bello believes his successor, Usman Ododo, is best positioned to launch out from the foundations that have been laid to take the state to another level of development.
Residents of Okene in Kogi State tripped out to welcome the immediate past governor of the state as he drove through the town. After 8 years as governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello is in his country home, Okene, to thank the people, but not before paying his respects to the new Ohinoyi of Igbira land. The former governor was accompanied by the incumbent, Usman Ododo. Some of those present expressed their optimism that the new governor will perform much better.
We hope for infrastructure, education, and good road and electricity, electricity and others.
Within the palace of the Oyinoyi of Iberoland, Mr. Bello greets some stakeholders, thanking them for supporting his government in the last 8 years. He also urged them to support the administration of Governor Usman Ododo for continued development.
We have done our best, laid solid foundation in all sectors, both tangible and intangible. I am confident that the next governor, Haji Ahmed Usman Ododo, will build on already laid foundations, and he will lay more foundations for more administrations that will come.
The governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, promised more dividends of democracy to the people.
We have come to give you and to let you know that we are going to build on his achievements, like in the area of security, and to ensure a secured, united, and prosperous Kogi State. And by the special grace of God, we will make you proud.
At the former governor's residence in Okene, the crowd welcomed him home with singing, cheers, and different displays.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Central Bank of Nigeria clears verified foreign exchange debts to foreign airlines with additional payment of $64 million. But that's for business news. Do join us again. Welcome back. In the northwest of the country, residents of Sabon Tasha community in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State are excited over the commencement of the construction of the Juji College Road that has been abandoned for many years. The residents who expressed their happiness during the official flag-off of the construction of the 6-kilometer road by the Kaduna State Governor, Senator Obasani, say it is the first time that the community is getting the attention of the state government.
Sabon Tasha, a densely populated community in Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, is the largest ward in the local government area and home to many non-indigens living in the state capital. The community is challenged with severe infrastructural gaps, not limited to poor road networks, problems they've been grappling with for more than 3 decades. One of the bad roads is College Juji Road, which links Sabon Tasha community to the Eastern Bypass. After years of waiting, respite has come to the people as the rehabilitation work begins. They roll out the drums to welcome Governor Obasani, accompanied by his deputy, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, and other senior government officials. The governor performs the symbolic flag-off of the 6-kilometer road, which is expected to be completed before the end of the year. He describes the project as a major part of his rural transformation agenda to revitalize rural economies and bridge urban-rural development gaps.
Agenda of the government is rural transformation, because we feel it's important to revitalize the economies of the rural areas if we want to really improve the level of economic prosperity of those in the rural areas.
For the residents, the presence of the bulldozers in Sabon Tasha community is a good sign that their years of suffering has come to an end. From Sabon Tasha, Governor Sani moves to Gadangayan in Igabi local government area, where he performs the groundbreaking of a 35-kilometer road that will link the community to Kujama Junction in Chikun local government area. With the 2 local government areas known for their farming, the governor believes that the presence of a good road network will boost agricultural productivity.
Happy today we have done the groundbreaking, and of course all these projects will perform the groundbreaking today. We have made it clear that the projects will be completed by the grace of God this year.
Governor Sani promises that all the road projects awarded by his administration will be completed within stipulated time. He gives assurances that every community in the 23 local government areas of Kaduna State will benefit under the rural revitalization agenda.
And that's all from our Abuja studios. It's back now to you, Anne.
Thank you very much, Malwe. And on a sad note, 2 persons have died from a late evening fire on Monday on the Bonny Nemebe jetty in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. The fire also destroyed buildings, speedboats and several other items. According to the chairman of the Maritime Union, Israel Waribo Pepple, many of the traders are still missing after that sad incident.
Fire accidents are a regular occurrence at this crowded Bonny Nembe jetty in the old Port Harcourt township area of Rivers State. The jetty serves as a transit point for people, especially traders, to some riverine communities, including Bonny in Rivers State and Nembe in Bayelsa State. Combustible items like wooden and fiber boats, as well as petroleum products, heighten the level of damage, like in this fire incident, which occurred on Monday, January 29, 2024. The secretary to the River State government, Tammy Danagogo, is here on the directive of Governor Similaye Fubara for an assessment and briefing by the authorities at the jetty, as 2 people have been confirmed dead, with many still unaccounted for.
When I got down here, all effort to get in touch with the fire service to come and save the situation was really abortive, because the fire service now reminded us that 2 years ago, they came here and they came late and they were chased away. Some of them were beaten. Based on that, they did not come to rescue us that yesterday.
We are still trying to assess and know the nature and extent of damage here. And as soon as we get all, by the end of today and tomorrow, a report on it will be made to the governor so that he will know exactly what to do. What to do to help the affected people, what to do to stop this kind of thing happening again.
While calling for restraint in the activities during the dry season, the state government is promising to ensure that the ugly incident does not happen again.
You all know this is Harmattan season. Although it's January, but it's still Harmattan season. And so what it means is that it's easy for this kind of things to happen. And that's why all of you need to be careful, particularly people handling combustible items.
With the cause of the fire not yet known, business operators here are asking the government to provide a fire station and other safety equipment to help in preventing future fire outbreaks at the jetty.
The Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited is promising to maintain a high level of responsibility in its operations in any part of the country. The company stated this while reacting to the controversy surrounding its service boat, said to have been responsible for the drowning of a fisherman in the host community of its corporate headquarters in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. The General Manager, External Relationship and Sustainable Development at NLNG, Andy Ode, says the company will abide by the outcome of the ongoing investigation into the matter.
Kukwama, an offshoot of Amadiama community in Port Harcourt local government area of River State, is home to people from diverse places whose occupation is primarily fishing. Its waterfront is always a beehive of activities, as the women are readily available to buy the day's catch from the fishermen. Their peace was, however, disrupted 2 weeks ago when a fishing canoe capsized, allegedly following a wave from a service boat that was hired by the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, resulting in the drowning of a 28-year-old fisherman known as Precious Imabibu. The incident has since pitched the community, others nearby, as well as the fishermen against the NLNG.
It has been happening over time. We also recorded incidents of 2 of our children get drowned, and I think nothing was done. Occasionally, it has also happened to me. The fishing implement, the boat, it will capsize, and with the high level of wave, and nobody comes to our aid.
The fishermen are said to have, on 2 occasions, picketed the NLNG head office in Port Harcourt to demand compensation for the family of the victim beyond the company's support for his funeral, which has already been conducted. But the NLNG's General Manager, External Relations and Sustainable Development, Mr. Andy Ode, says the company is a responsible corporate organization and will abide by the outcome of police investigations.
We are a responsible corporate citizen. We abide by the law. We've been sailing between Bonny and Port Harcourt using our passenger boat service, which is actually a dedicated service provided by a third party for more than 25 years. So whatever comes out as a citizen of this country that abides by law, yes, why not? Again, I think it's fair. I can't say enough how we have enjoyed the relationship between our communities and how it's possible because we are open, we are fair, and of course they've been also fair to us.
While the fishermen eagerly await the outcome of the police investigation into the mishap, the NLNG Limited reiterates that the incident will not affect its relationship with the host community.
Nigerian Breweries Limited has been rewarding its loyal customers in its annual recognition and awards night for distributors and transporters. The Foremost Brewer also used the occasion to introduce its latest entrance into the market, the Legend Twist, which comes in 3 flavors of ginger, lemon, and pineapple.
Once again, management and staff of Nigerian Breweries PLC, as well as its distributors and transporters, come together to celebrate the company's successes in the year 2023. It's the awards for distributors and transporters, and to set the ball rolling, Managing Director of Nigerian Breweries PLC, Mr. Hans Asadi, recounts the journey so far and promises that despite the challenges, the company remains strong.
We stand here undefeated. We will continue to go strong. We'll come out of this stronger. And I'm super happy with tonight. The way we come out, we dress up for success.
This comment is corroborated by the company's sales director, who assures the company's partners that together they will stay ahead of the curve.
We here, together with you, we're going to find a way to navigate and always be ahead of the curve, right? So 2024, we have learned how to survive. In 2023, so this year, we are going to thrive despite the odds.
Prize winners express happiness and thank Nigerian Breweries for the recognition.
I give thanks to God, while I give equally thanks to the Nigeria Breweries management, and of course I give thanks to my customer. Without my customer, I wouldn't have done what I did today.
Be a winner for today. I'm really grateful and proud to be associated with Nigerian Breweries because they are the reason why we are here tonight.
Highlight of the awards night is the introduction of Legend Twist, Nigerian Breweries PLC latest entrance into the market, and the company says it will be a delight for consumers.
The Legend Twist we are launching today is going to be a delight for our consumers in pineapple, ginger, and lemon.
For the past 77 years, Nigerian Breweries has served its consumers, and this award ceremony is a testament to its appreciation of the loyalty from partners and consumers alike.
Let's delve into the world of business now. Here's Will to give us more and talk about the CBN's intervention.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Anne, and welcome to Business News. Now, as Anne said, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the settlement of all verified forex claims by foreign airlines operating in the country with an additional payment of $64.44 million, bringing total disbursement to foreign airlines to $136.73 million. According to the CBN, this development underlines the bank's commitment to resolving outstanding FX obligations across all sectors. Meanwhile, in a statement, the International Air Transport Association, IATA, says it welcomes the central bank's announcement However, it stresses that while the release of an additional $64.44 million is encouraging, it is still a long way to go in addressing the full issue, as about $700 million remains blocked in the country's commercial banks. On the International Monetary Fund, IMF has downgraded Nigeria's economic growth projections for 2024 to 3% from the 3.1% it had forecast in October last year. The IMF disclosed this in its latest World Economic Outlook update, where it estimated that Nigeria's economy grew by 2.8% in 2023, a slight drop from the 2.9% projected in October. At the same time, the international lender expects Nigeria's economy to grow by 3.1% in 2025. Meanwhile, IMF's 2024 projection is below the federal government's expectation of 3.76%. In its October update, the IMF stated that Nigeria's slow growth will be because of weaker oil and gas production. Now, still talking of oil, barely a month after commencing operations, Africa's largest private refinery, Dangote Refinery, is set to begin importing crude from the U.S. in the coming weeks. According to reports by Bloomberg, the refinery has ordered 2 million barrels of West Texas Intermediate Midland from United States-based oil trader Trafigura Group for delivery in February. This significant development comes as a $20 billion mega facility has so far received up to 4 crude oil shipments from several sources, most recently from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL. Dangote Refinery, which has a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day, is expected to help Nigeria reduce its reliance on imported fuel and become a net exporter of refined products. And outside our shores, India's finance ministry says the country could become the world's third largest economy by 2027, with a gross domestic product of $5 trillion. In its latest reports, the Indian finance ministry says the economy is poised to grow at or above 7% in the fiscal year 2024. The projections come ahead of an interim budget, which is due to be released later this week. If it meets this year's target, it will be the third straight year of 7% GDP growth for the Asian country, with GDP currently at $3.7 trillion. Now we head to the domestic equities markets, where the expected pullback happened today, and Ladi Williams has the details.
Take a look at how your money performed today. Well, it's a different scenario today. You know, we're used to 2.22% gains, over 2% gains, but today we're down big 1.49%, 103,000, still above the 100,000 level for the all-share index. Market cap slipping back to 56.4 trillion naira. Let's look at the fugas now. Yeah, profit taking with the fugas at this point. We see big drops here. Axis Gold with big 10% drop to the share price. FBNH, UBA, GTCO. So all the tier 1 banks are down today, and a couple of tier 2 banks, and that's why we see the market dragged down today by the financial services sector. As for market news today, Geregu Power PLC, they're releasing their audited results for full year 2023. They're actually the first listed company to release that. Revenue there up 74%, profit before tax up 110% in 2023, and a proposed dividend payments of about 20 billion naira. So we see today it's one of the few negative closes of January 2024, and definitely it's a deep one this time. But we'll be seeing if there'll be some kind of cherry picking tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last trading day of January, but year-to-date gain still above that 38% level. That's the stock market report. The bears have it.
Thank you, Will. Israeli forces have killed 3 members of Palestinian armed groups in a hospital in the occupied West Bank. CCTV footage showed members of the undercover unit disguised as medics and other civilians making their way through a corridor with rifles raised. The Israeli military says the men were hiding in the Jenin hospital and that one was about to carry out an attack. Here's Simon Puse with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Israeli forces have killed 3 militants inside a hospital in Jenin in the occupied West Bank. CCTV footage showed members of an undercover unit disguised as medics and other civilians making their way through a corridor with rifles raised. The Israeli military said the militants were hiding in the hospital and that one was about to carry out an attack. Another armed group, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, said 2 of those killed were its members. The security camera video from the hospital shows several members of the Israeli undercover unit, men and women, hurrying through a corridor, training their weapons left and right. The Palestinian Authority's Ministry of Health accused Israel of carrying out a new massacre inside hospitals. The former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan has been sentenced to 10 years in jail in a case in which he was charged with leaking state secrets. Mr. Khan, who was ousted by his opponents as Prime Minister in 2022, is already serving a 3-year jail term after being convicted of corruption. He has called all of the charges against him politically motivated. The conviction under the Secrets Act comes the week before general elections, in which he is barred from standing. Former Foreign Minister Shah Mahmoud Qureshi was also sentenced to 10 years in prison by the special court set up inside Adiala Jail in Rawalpindi, where both men are being held. The leader of the Democratic Unionist Party, Northern Ireland's main unionist party, has endorsed a deal to restore power sharing.
The package of measures in totality does provide a basis for our party to nominate members to the Northern Ireland Executive, thus seeing the restoration of the locally elected institution.
Sir Geoffrey Donaldson said it provided a basis for Stormont's return, subject to laws being passed in Parliament and final agreement on a timetable. He said it was not perfect, but was a good outcome for Northern Ireland. The DUP has boycotted government at Stormont for nearly 2 years. The government is expected to publish the deal in full on Wednesday and pass legislation in Parliament on Thursday.
Our goal has been to secure the conditions that allow for the return of devolved government on a sustainable basis, and where it can make a real and meaningful improvement in the lives of all the people of this part of the United Kingdom.
Police have arrested 5 people after several bodies were found shot dead in a remote area of Southern California's Mojave Desert. 6 bodies were found after a gunshot victim called 911, sending a police helicopter to the grisly crime scene. Investigators for the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office said that the dispute appears to be related to the illicit marijuana production. 4 of the 6 victims have been identified so far. The African Union has declared its deep regret over the decision this weekend by military regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger to pull out of the West African regional bloc ECOWAS. Those 3 nations accused ECOWAS of posing a threat to their sovereignty. They had all been founding members when ECOWAS was set up almost 50 years ago. In a statement from the AU's Commission chairperson, called on regional leaders to intensify the dialogue between the ECOWAS leadership and the 3 aforementioned countries. Uganda's National Unity Platform political party has filed a case with the High Court in Kampala to compel security agencies to release 18 of its supporters who have been missing for nearly 2 years. The supporters reportedly disappeared during the heated 2021 election period. UP leader Tumar, popularly known as Bobby Wine, ran for president. The supporters' whereabouts are unknown, but their families and NUP party leaders believe that they were unlawfully arrested and are still being detained by security forces. And a video has gone viral in the United States after a woman jumped on a speeding car after the driver stole her French bulldog. A witness filmed the moment Ali Zacharias clung to the bonnet of the speeding car in downtown Los Angeles. Zacharias says Oinks, her French bulldog, was stolen, and when she tried to stop the thieves from driving away, they drove their vehicle into her. After riding on top of the bonnet for a couple of blocks, Zacharias was able to roll off and fall to the ground without any major injuries. Oinks is still missing. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Lassane Sinayoko scored his 3rd goal at the African Cup of Nations as Mali reached the quarterfinals for the first time since 2013 by defeating Burkina Faso 2-1 earlier this evening. An early Edmond Tapsoba own goal got Mali off to a great start in the last 16 tie, and Oxia Sinayoko doubled the lead just after half-time. Bertrand Traoré reduced arrears from a penalty for Burkina Faso, who had the ball in the net again, only for Isufu Dayo to be ruled offside. Super Eagles vice-captain William Troost-Ekong says the team is hungry to win the African Cup of Nations for the 4th time as they continue intensive preparations for their quarter-final clash against Angola on Friday. Ekong says the match against Angola could prove to be the toughest yet for the Eagles, but they are ready for the battle.
So far, so good, just because we are where we are. We managed to qualify now to the quarter-final. But yeah, we're not satisfied yet because I think we said from the start we want to win the AFCON. And yeah, there's still a long road to go. But I like the way how it's lining up now. I think the team is improving game by game. And most of all, I think the team is ready to work hard. I think you can really see a spirit of determination. And yeah, I think that's it's going to be the base of all of our performances, and yeah, there's many things we can still improve, and we're working on it every day, like you saw in training today. But yeah, I'm confident for the game on Friday.
And to the NPFL, Rivers United beat defending champions Eyimba International 2-0 in a rescheduled Nigeria Premier Football League clash at the Adokia Masamaka Stadium in Port Harcourt earlier this evening. Deputy Echeta got both goals for the Pride of Rivers to move 11th on the NPFL log with 24 points from 17 games. Eyimba are now 5th with 32 points from 19 matches. And football clubs worldwide spent a record $9.63 billion on international transfers last year, surpassing the previous record set in 2019 by more than $2 billion, according to a FIFA report published earlier today. The latest figures represent a 48.1% increase compared to 2022, when transfer spending began to climb again after 2 years of belt tightening due to the COVID-19 pandemic. English clubs, led by Chelsea, again topped the list by splashing out a combined $2.96 billion. That's it on sports. Back to you, Anne.
Thanks a lot, Chris. And the main news again. The Senate today summoned the chiefs to appear before next week over rising insecurity across the nation. And also today, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, advised President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take top decisions in addressing the nation's security challenges. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Good night.